On a crisp afternoon, biologist Mitchell Dennis and colleagues with the National Park Service hop on an 8-seat plane headed for San Miguel Island, home to one of the world's rarest animals.
We have a release going on today. We caught them this morning at their pens, and we're going to fly them across the other side of the island and release them.
So these animals aren't found anywhere else in the world?
Nowhere else.
As we leave the Ventura coast, we see the 4 northern Channel Islands rising out of the sea, blue, black, and backlit by a swath of sunlit sea, shimmering platinum and gold. San Miguel looms on the horizon, ringed by fog. When we get to Miguel, we pick up additional passengers, 4 little foxes, each about the size of a house cat. They've been part of a captive breeding program trying to keep island foxes from going extinct.
So they look kind of like a mainland gray fox?
They do. They're about 40% smaller.
The tawny and gray foxes are curled up in portable kennels. They're silent and motionless, but their eyes are wide open and alert. The biologists put them on the plane for a short flight to the other side of the island. Island foxes live on 6 of the Channel Islands. Each island has a genetically distinct subspecies of the dainty fox. 10 years ago, the foxes on the northern Channel Islands began to die off rapidly. The problem? Feral pigs left over from ranching days attracted golden eagles to Santa Cruz Island. The eagles feasted on an abundant supply of piglets and evidently found the foxes to be a satisfactory hors d'oeuvre. And the foxes were sitting ducks, so to speak, because they weren't accustomed to being preyed upon. Biologist Rosie Woodruff is one of a team of scientists advising the Park Service on fox recovery.
Most animals that are naturally active during the day, if you watch them, constantly looking up, looking around and looking for predators. And foxes are not that vigilant. It's because they've spent thousands and thousands of years not needing to be particularly vigilant. When you've got an animal with no anti-predator behavior whatsoever, there's really very little you can do to convince them to look up.
On the northwest side of San Miguel Island, the biologists unload the foxes. Then Mitchell Dennis and Debbie Watson listen to beeps transmitted from radio collars around their necks.
That's our mortality mode on our collar.
It's not supposed to do that.
Usually you shake the collar. You really can't shake the fox, though.
They decide to replace the broken collar.
Hi, sweetie.
I got a bandana.
Calms them down to have a bandana over their face.
Dennis says the Park Service has been capturing and relocating golden eagles, and it's hired hunters to kill the feral pigs, so it's safe enough to put some foxes back into the wild.
They just do better out in the wild. We had 4 females and 6 males released last year, and those females produced at least 9 pups. All of our captivity pens, where we had about 40 to 50 foxes, we only had 8 pups between all of them.
But a few, maybe 4, eagles have evaded capture and are still snacking on foxes. Last year, they killed 11. Biologist Rosie Woodruff.
It's true that golden eagles haven't been seen on San Miguel Island, but they have, in the last few months, killed at least 1 fox on Santa Rosa Island, which is sort of a stone's throw away. And it only takes sort of 1 eagle to decide to fly over to San Miguel for a few days, and they could take out the whole population of the released foxes on San Miguel. So it's still on a knife edge whether the foxes will survive in the wild.
Woodruff says the Park Service should at least consider killing some eagles if they continue to evade capture and feed on foxes. But it's not clear if killing the birds would be easier or cheaper, and it certainly would spark outrage from animal rights groups. So to ensure the survival of the species, some foxes will remain in captivity. This year, the biologists will let some of them choose their mates instead of pairing them solely by their genetics.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
With all the collars working, Debbie Watson and Mitchell Dennis open the kennels, and the captive-born foxes take their first steps into the wild.
He's heading off towards Point Bennett.
Running!
The furthest he's ever run in a straight line.
Yeah.
3 of the foxes bound out of sight, but a young female ventures only a few feet, then hunkers down in the grass, looking a bit stunned and uncertain. From Channel Islands National Park, Ilsa Setziol, 89.3 KPCC.